A second major strategy of training that is great for parents to have at their disposal is experiential education. It is what it sounds, teaching by experience. So here's a little chart that kind of summarizes experiential education at its best. Notice here is the amount of learning an individual has. Here's the amount of stress or challenge that they're facing. And this learning curve kind of goes this way. The more challenge, the more stress the person faces, the more learning they have. Of course, there comes a moment where the challenge and the stress is too much and they shut down. Whatever way they shut down. Some people curl into a fetal ball and just cry. Some people just go numb. Some people throw big fits and all of a sudden turn into monsters, whatever it is. And then you've got to pull back the challenge. But let me just illustrate this with fire building. So if I go out and show you how to build a fire, you'll forget how the next day. If I go out and show you how to build a fire and have you build a fire immediately afterward, you might remember how to build that fire for 3 or 4 days. If I go out and give you some matches and say, hey, you need to build a fire, and you're not really motivated, but night's coming on, we might do without a fire if you don't build one, you might figure it out, you might learn how to build a fire. If I say, we're going to cook over the fire that you build, and if you don't get a fire built, we're not going to eat tonight, now all of a sudden you're very motivated to build a fire and you'll figure it out. You will figure it out, and when you do, you'll remember how to build a fire for months, maybe even years. Now, practically, people have these little false drops, if you will. I've noticed this. They look like they're shutting down, but oh, come on, this is not enough to shut a person down. It's a big challenge for a facilitator to know, are they here or are they here? Because if they're here, we might not want to add more challenge. But notice, your goal as a parent is to have your kids here as often as you can if you want them to be dynamic, highly trained individuals. Whew, it's challenging. I'm praying for you.
Experiential learning is a powerful tool. Learning by doing, parenting by encouraging, learning by doing. Sometimes we learn best by doing. So experiences are powerful. Sometimes kids don't really want to experience that, and knowing how to push and knowing how to encourage are key. But experiential learning is powerful.
I don't know if all of us are interested in highly trained children. I think we're happy with moderately trained. And we don't have to make up things to train our children with. They can just be trained with everyday things that we come across in our everyday life. The challenge with this method is fear of failure on the part of our children and our fear of letting them fail. So that creates a good opportunity for us to talk with our children using this method about fear and about failure and what they mean and why we have it. And it's a good opportunity for us too to think about really what do we think about failure and fear and how we react to it ourselves.